Sunglasses. Most of us wear them, but what makes them so cool? Sunglasses' role in contemporary culture is very, very diverse, as they popped up in many works of art, such as films, advertisements, magazines, and of course, many celebrities. Other than serving a utilitarian and functional purpose of protecting our eyes from what we call the sun, how did they become associated with feelings of coolness? Well, that's what we're about to find out.
What's the thing you like most in life?
Love, love, and love.
When the Americans came here in 1943, they brought things we never saw before, like Coca-Cola, bubblegum, and Ray-Ban sunglasses. This quote actually came from one of the local residents in the Parnamirim air base in Brazil when it was occupied by the Allies in World War II. Sunglasses are obviously one of the most prominent accessories that most of us commonly use, serving as a means of functionality as well as adding a stylistic flair in any of our outfits. They've been around for quite some time. So before the 20th and 21st century, sunglasses were not really considered accessories, but served a practical and utilitarian use. So they popped up some 2,000 years ago within Alaska's indigenous group, the Inuit and Yupik people. Thriving in one of the most harshest conditions, their tribe sought to invent eyewear for enhanced eye vision and eye protection, as the sun could potentially cause temporary or even permanent damage to their eyes. And so they adapted with some, might I say, funky looking snow goggles made from carving wood, bone, walrus ivory, and caribou antler. We can credit this group for one of the first variations of sunglasses that have popped up in history. And over the course of the years, different variations of sunglasses would soon pop up. The Roman Emperor Nero was actually said to have worn emerald sunglasses in order to watch gladiator fights. And the 12th century actually saw some Chinese judges who wore ports over their eyes. This was so they could appear expressionless during a trial. And it wasn't until the beginning of the 20th century that we saw American manufacturers start to push goggles for the general user, more specifically towards men for driving. And it wasn't until the 1930s that we saw sunglasses really emerge as the accessories we know them today. This mainly had a lot to do with the celebrities of the 30s and 40s who had a massive influence, as they had popularized them to the point where the average citizen today likely owns a pair of sunglasses themselves.
I am just a figment of your imagination.
Perhaps one of the most famous sunglass brand that really set the standard is Ray-Ban. And they grew in popularity after serving as a great accessory for many soldiers during World War II, mainly among pilots, and expanded to be used for most of the military and then civilians. These new sunglasses definitely fulfilled the promise to ban the sun rays, which is likely where they got their name from. Get it? Ban the sun rays. Ray-Bans. See, now you're understanding. From then on, Ray-Bans have definitely solidified their standing in popular culture, as they've made many cameos in many works of films. And in the book Cool Shades by Vanessa Brown, she theorized that since sunglasses are an expression of modernity, it makes sense that they would appear most where we experience modern life, the urban city. So in an environment that is as vast and bustling with a plethora of strangers, there's a lot of appeal in wearing sunglasses on the streets. And at some point in our history, eye contact was actually seen taboo for many. And according to an article in 1734 from London Magazine, people were actually advised not to stare at the faces of passerbys and not to make eye contact with those who enter a public room for fear of shocking his modesty and dismounting his assurance. Eye activity in spaces is also quite uncomfortable uncomfortable, admittedly, and it could possibly be even dangerous since the intent of any stranger walking on the street or nearby is unknown to you, and you never know what they're gonna do. And in a big, sprawling city where fashion becomes a means of attracting or deflecting attention, an environment is created where looking and being seen has a whole new meaning to it. This bubble of anonymity is certainly popped once you make eye contact with somebody, and we can certainly see this in action in Walker Evans' documentary photographs, where the passerbys actually displayed a hurried, unattentive walk with suspicion over what Evans was doing. And sunglasses also communicate a sort of detachment if you think about it, because you can really get away with having these stimulus shields on your eyes to prevent any unwarranted engagement. I mean, you know how it goes. The eyes are the windows to our souls. Sunglasses also communicate you wanting to kind of shut yourself in, and when it's time to take off those sunglasses, it shows off a desire to finally connect. And in a 1999 study conducted by University of London psychologist Dr. Glenn Wilson, he studied the psychological effects of wearing sunglasses, as he says that sunnies start to make people more confident and attractive to the opposite sex. The study had sought out the opinions of beachgoers and their thoughts of sunglasses and their effects on them. And one of the young males in the group actually commented that he felt that women were actually more attractive once they had sunglasses on because they were more likely to be viewed by him as a sexual object, since the lack of access to her eyes had encouraged him to actually think less of her personality, but put more attention on her body. He had also described this feeling as almost pornographic. Talk about a mild case of voyeurism. Jeez. In comparison, the women of this study felt more confident in exposing their bodies since the sunglasses had provided them a better sense of protection and security. Sunglasses have proven to be quite the accessory, as they're able to evoke a certain type of feeling that I feel like not a lot of other accessories can really emulate. I mean, it seems simple, right? Just throw on a pair of sunglasses and suddenly you're the coolest cat there. But what does it even mean to be cool? So although sunglasses did not rise in popularity in the city, we could argue that anyone who's ever worn sunglasses out on the city or on the streets knows that sunnies really are able to afford you the ability to watch others without being seen. You can avoid the unwanted attention of any passerby on the streets, and you can also feel the charm of what it might feel like to be a celeb too. And with these protectants, the wearer can certainly maintain a sense of ambiguity and not really be left defenseless in the gaze of another passerby. Wearing sunglasses also further suggests the feeling of being unbothered. And Goffman's concept of civil inattention actually further discusses this concept of ignoring each other in public. With civil inattention, he theorized that pretty much there is a mutual recognition between all parties within a public setting that neither one of us pose any danger to the other, so we pretty much respectfully leave the other person alone. Through sunglasses, you can certainly do this and just completely remain in your own world without worrying about whether or not you're going to make eye contact with somebody or they're going to make eye contact with you. And when they make eye contact, you just act as if you didn't and just turn your head over like that just didn't happen. And what also makes sunglasses super cool in an urban setting is also this concept of aesthetic of ugly, which was dubbed by Elizabeth Wilson, which discusses the subculture of those within the avant-garde. This style of avant-garde might be ugly or strange to, say, normal people, or you could even argue those of normcore. This look was done intentionally by members of this subculture, all as a means of rebelling against normal fashion and, of course, satiating their unquenchable thirst for the new. So this could be made apparent for those cloud goggles that were pretty popular, I want to say in 2016 or 2017. They looked like those Willy Wonka looking sunglasses that a lot of rappers and just a lot of cool people at the time would wear. Yeah, they certainly had their heyday, and you can argue that even today we also see a different variation like that with those bug eye glasses that we've seen a ton of celebrities wear too, from Acne Studio and even Balenciaga. So these types of fashion certainly cater to those who are more into the avant-garde style and are looking to, wear something unique and something out of the ordinary that you don't normally see, and that's fashion. Then there is Aviator Cool. So Aviator Cool is pretty much all about the associations of sunglasses with speed, thrill, and all things dangerous. So in the 1930s, style was defined by the American Ray-Ban, which was characterized by a much lighter, thinner, and more proportioned version of flight goggles, like the First World War triplex safety goggle. And fashion theorist Gabriel Menkes also argued that German fighter pilots at the time were considered quote-unquote cool for their displays of casualness and indifference as they withstood the extremes of high speed. And these types of conditions necessitated that pilots and even motorcyclists and drivers even develop tougher skin in order to protect themselves from the conditions that they were putting themselves in. Their behavior also exhibited a personality unlike any other subculture. Their behavior showed extreme self-possession and detachment as they faced many risks. And their exposure to the speed, the cold, and machinery sought after this need for protective outer layers, such as the leather flight jackets and denim, which also became associated with the highly durable connotations of cool. And unlike any other accessories that we've seen so far, sunglasses also suggest a sort of danger, and this then displays a certain amount of bravery for the individuals involved in the Aviator Cool, as they're courageous enough to face their fears, but all the while still maintaining a cool, calm demeanor in the face of all this. And perhaps we can also credit jazz's role within the first half of the 20th century for their contribution in the contemporary meanings of cool. These musicians were among the first musical subcultures to utilize sunnies as an expression of oppositional outsider cool. And cool as a word was actually first used as a term of approval within these American jazz circles, so we can certainly credit these individuals for really popularizing wearing dark sunglasses at night, since this really became a part of their look when they were performing indoors or at night. And this association with cool was certainly exemplified by fellow jazzman Miles Davis, as he was among one of the individuals to famously wear shades. And his 1957 album release, Birth of the Cool, obviously demonstrate this, as the cover showcases him passionately playing the trumpet with his sunglasses in a black and white filter. And once jazz had started taking off, we also started to see this association with black cool, as many saw black culture's innovations as superior, more original, and another resource for white people to exploit off of. And probably one of the most famous examples of these appropriations were committed by Elvis Presley, as he covered songs by black artists such as Chuck Berry and Little Richard in his own renditions of the songs That's All Right Mama, Hound Dog, and Don't Be Cruel. Though Presley benefited from this, it was said that the original artists didn't have the same luck, as they were actually the pioneers that kickstarted this genre. And we also see sentiments of this desire to be part of black style, as in the 1959 Broadway play The Connection, we saw this display of the idea of cool first exhibited by the black characters in the play, and soon thereafter admired and emulated by the white characters. Although sunglasses may have only seemed to play a small part in this, it's no denying sunglasses at night were a hallmark of the jazzmen and became a part of their signature style. So Glam Cool is clearly related to sunglasses association with that of the celebs. And since about the 1930s or 40s, this is when we started seeing the association of sunglasses with celebrities. And this had a lot to do with the fact that the golden age of Hollywood was in full swing, and this was the time in which some of the most iconic films were released. And it was also within the same time that the audience's perception on the celebrities had started shifting. Suddenly, celebrities had started being seen as otherworldly, and as the stars that they were completely drenched in the lights of modernity, from the studio lights, the flashes from paparazzi, and the ever sunny Los Angeles. And the earliest connections of celebs with these sunglasses actually came from their off-duty and behind-the-scenes looks, as many of them were caught in a very candid state with sunglasses revealing their real lives. We can see this manifest as this picture was taken of Joan Crawford arriving on set without her makeup, as well as Marlene Dietrich, who was seen eating her lunch at the Paramount Studios cafe as she adorned some sunnies. And we can also see the kind of effect that the paparazzi obviously had to play with their role in committing some very questionable and even violent and predatory acts against these celebrities, all in order to get that one shot. This habitual act of wearing sunglasses for these individuals likely stemmed from a lot of these paparazzi incidents, as this was all a means to protect themselves. And even at night, when it seems pretty counterintuitive to wear sunglasses, the bombardment of all these flashes from these paparazzis certainly protects them from this loss of privacy from the plethora of cameras following them around everywhere. And we can see many examples pop up within pop culture history of how paparazzis are almost vulture-like to these individuals, as we can see with the tragic accident of Princess Diana.
Excuse me. As a parent, could I ask you to respect my children's space?
And as many of you have known, she was absolutely swarmed by many paparazzis during the time in which she was alive. Nowadays, a celebrity is almost always seen with their sunglasses when it comes to their off-duty looks. On city streets, sunglasses have become a celebrity staple, not only adding on to their more casual look, but to also evade the photographs from the paparazzi that'll likely come their way once they step outside in public. So sunglasses can certainly be a celebrity's best friend, as this further detaches them from anybody within the vicinity to restrict access from that intimacy. We can also see how sunglasses have become a sort of status symbol at this point, as was discussed in this High Snobriety article, which basically centers around the politics of who gets to wear sunglasses or not in a conversation between their writers and editors. The 2022 Met Gala saw many celebrities who actually wore sunglasses, and they actually faced a lot of scrutiny because of it. Alexandra Pauly, fellow style writer, started off the conversation by remarking, "There are very few people who can pull it off without looking stupid. If you aren't Anna Wintour level, it's pretentious." Amy Schumer is definitely not at the level where she can wear sunglasses inside without looking like she's on tranquilizers. Elaine YG Lee, features editor, said, "So you're saying sunglasses indoors equates to status?" From these two-liners, I think you could get the general gist of where their conversation might be going. For celebs, it's quite an interesting thing because it seems as if only a select few are worthy of wearing sunglasses indoor, because then it's part of their look. But for other celebrities, when they're doing it, it's deemed as distasteful. When we have icons such as Anna Wintour, I mean, come on, she's obviously going to get a pass. She's one of the biggest names in fashions, and even the Olsen twins, as was said in their article, they get a pass too. And I think that's pretty interesting because, you know, there's levels to everything. Fame, status, and it's not until you reach a certain level of prestige and respect that it's going to be socially acceptable for you to casually just wear sunglasses everywhere you go. And for some, sunglasses are just part of a celeb's look. But for some others, they may be seen as quite pretentious and snobbish. But of course, I think it all comes down to personality, whether or not you're wearing these sunglasses as a way of deflecting and not really engaging with people, then it might come off rude. But if it's part of your look, then it's part of your look, and you should just own it. And another interesting interaction that involved sunglasses was actually in 2007 between Kanye West and P. Diddy and Prince Harry and Prince William. With their two worlds colliding at a concert for Diana's after show party, West and Diddy were seen wearing glasses to the event. And what proceeded was that West had actually offered up his white shutter shades that he was known for wearing at the time to the princes, but jokingly the princes declined. Why did they decline the sunglasses? Was it because of image control and they didn't really want to be photographed with such sunglasses? Or did they just decline just because and it wasn't really that deep? Well, who knows? We'll never really know, but I think that case certainly exhibits the kind of status that sunglasses have evolved to since their inception. In conclusion, sunglasses are a great invention, and it's clearly evolved to mean many things for many different type of people and serves many functions up until this point. I would say the average person probably wears them out of functionality, but to those fashionistas, celebrity, they all do so for a certain purpose. But I don't think you can't overlook the fact that you feel pretty damn cool when you wear sunglasses. And to some people, they may even feel like a different person. So what do you guys think of sunglasses? Do you find them cool? Do you feel cooler in them? Or do you just reject this notion altogether? Let me know. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. Bye, cool cats.